Greetings, twin flames. Welcome back. Peace be upon you, and salamu alaikum. To start this video, I just want to say that there has been retrogrades in the heavens. There's been Mercury retrograde and whatnot earlier on your journeys. There has been gates opened, 1111, all sorts of portals during your journey, whenever your journey has started, whether it was 2 months ago, 2 years ago, 12 years ago. Many purgings, many personal clearings. There has been many downloads and heavy energies before, and things that we've been through, and amazing good things and hard things. But this specific shift that we are experiencing this time right now in this past week or two or so has been so hard, so powerful at the same time, and it will reap such great benefits by being so hard, by purging such a heavy load off of us, that I must say that literally shift has hit the fan. You know what I mean? Shift has hit the fans. I mean, seriously, it's so heavy. If any of you right now are experiencing some weird and hard stuff, not only in 5D, not just only heavy energies that you feel, and feelings like energetic PMS has hit you so hard in the guts, but if you're actually having so many hard things going on in your 3D reality right now, then trust me, you're not the only one. It's happening to all of us. So let me share quickly what exactly is going on with my manifested twin. Okay, before I get into that, I have to just say, for those viewers who haven't been following me, who haven't watched all of my videos, maybe the ones that are crucial, where I talk about my sacral chakra person and whatnot, let me recap one more time, for all of you who haven't been really maybe clear on who is who in my story. Okay, so I will actually be completely honest with my personal life, for the sake of for the benefits of all of my viewers, for all of my listeners to understand what I'm trying to describe, how I'm trying to describe my journey. That way you can relate, that way you can compare. You know, I never brag about my stories so that I can share this, so that I can tell you. I know it's not fun listening always to what other people are going through. Sometimes you want to just get clear answers, but no one can give you clear answers. But by listening to what I'm going through, and my twin flame journey is a true twin flame journey, you can compare. Because whether you will find my video in a divine timing, and I'm preparing you for something that's going to happen to you in a month or two or in a year. So if I'm ahead of you, or whether you've been through what I'm going through right now, and then you're having that aha moment when you say, oh, aha, that's what I've been through. Oh, that's why, it may be beneficial for you. Or you are right on the spot right now going through the same things that I'm going through, because we all started journey at different points, sort of like if we catch a train, different train stations or bus, So we're not all, I keep repeating that in most of my videos, we're not all on the same spot on our journey right now, on the same location. So not always the videos will relate, but eventually they will, or they did. It already happened to you or will happen to you. So keep that in mind, and when you're listening to me, immediately start comparing what's going on with you, so you can realize where are you, like, why is this. If nothing else, you will know you're not crazy. You will know that this is not your imagination. It's happening to me. If it's happening to me and you, there must be a third person that this is happening to, and so on and so on. That's why I always encourage you to leave comments. So the comments are not for me only. Yes, I enjoy reading them too, and they help me too, but it's for all of us to connect and to read and to compare. Okay, so to help you realize who is who in my story, I will say that and be completely honest, that first of all, my first twin on my twin flame journey, before my twin flame journey has really started, was already a twin flame journey, but I was not aware of it. And why I say that is because until I met my organic twin, I didn't know that I was on a twin flame journey. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't already on a journey. And all of you, and we do kind of start counting time, sort of like from the time that our journey has started, and we count that time from the time that we met our actual twin. But in reality, our journey has started from the time we were born, from the time we hit the age of understanding and the age of being awakening to our own spirituality, to our own soul. So for me, I met my twin. I will be now straightforward with the exact date. I met my twin in year 2011, my organic twin. But years and years back, when I was only 15 years old, okay, I met my placeholder twin. It's called placeholder. This is one of the most common terms you can hear. Wow. My manifested twin is contacting me right now and saying that it's he's talking about my wow, this is amazing. I have to say this. I gotta jump in because I just received a message from my manifested twin. Wow, this is wonderful. He says that he's talking about my organic twin, because I told him about my organic twin. I didn't label him with that name, but I told him about him, what happened, and I was going to share that with you now, and I will, but he just texted me now saying that it's not, he's talking about my organic twin's parents, and he says it's not his fault that his parents are stupid, because I told him how his parents did not like me for being previously married. And so I will continue. Let me just answer him, because I owe him that much from what he's been through with me this past day, which I will always also share with you. But we're just gonna stop here for a second, pause my video, and I will continue, I swear. Okay, sorry about that. Now I must continue. And right here, I'm gonna insert the screenshot. Right now, you may be seeing it, where I'm going to insert the screenshot of the message from my manifested twin. So I met my organic twin, not my manifested twin, mind you. My organic twin, I met him in 2011. My twin flame placeholder, which is the best term to use, I met when I was only a young girl, when I was basically very young child, in my coming out of age years, when I was 15, 16 years old, in the midst of the war in Southern Europe. And he, at that time, I awakened to the spirituality. We talked about God together. The way he spoke, the way we interacted with each other was a total, now from today's knowledge and perspective, I know it was a total out of this world Well, I always knew it was the angelic conversations that we had, but I couldn't explain. I knew it was not a regular teenage love. It was not regular stories of dating, and we had such a strong 5D connection. We spoke of things that regular teenagers of our age really didn't speak of. We would separate from the crowd and share our thoughts, and he was a year younger than me, and I still today, but now I can explain who he was, but I still today am fascinated by how deep his thoughts were, by the things he was saying. And here's the interesting thing that I want to share with you. My twin flame placeholder, that teenage boy, was always talking about Krishna and Radha. He's Krishna and Radha, the twin flame of Krishna. And we lived in Southern Europe. Our culture was European, and with the my twin flame placeholder had background in Islam, while I was raised by atheists, by people who didn't believe in any religion. I was not raised religiously. He had some Muslim background, but not really practicing Islam at that time. And he started reading books on Krishna movement and was not really involved in it. He just shared those ideas with me, and I realize now that he was preparing me for my journey, because my organic twin flame is from Pakistan, which is Indian subcontinent, of course. Then my manifested twin is from Bangladesh, and the sacral chakra, the person I call sacral chakra guy, or I could call him my twin flame channeler, is from Afghanistan, which is also very close. It's kind of on that borderline. Well, it's neighboring Pakistan, that's for sure. And I mentioned before, my organic twin's mother is Afghani. So there's that lineage, that DNA connection. And my twin flame placeholder, the teenage boy, was European with Muslim background, but his DNA was actually of Sephardic Jew. His family was originally Sephardic Jewish family on his mother's side, which are basically Spanish Jews. So he had a Hebrew bloodline. So his connection with Indian subcontinent was zero, but he always was preparing me. He was telling me that it will play a great role in my life further on. And there were times when his words would hurt me, because we initially started, we were friends, we talked, we had extremely deep connection, and then we started basically dating each other. We dated for a while. We turned into romantic, very deep, loving, romantic relationship, very young age, very tender and innocent. But at the same time, he would sometimes hurt me with the words like, we would look at the moon together, and he would say, someday you will be with the man, with your true love, and that would, sometimes it would keep me silent, because I didn't want to comment on that, because I didn't want to say, why are you saying that? Why aren't you the one who's going to be with me? Because I loved him. I loved him so deeply, and took me years. It was my deepest wound until today. It took me years and years and years to purge him. Even later in my married time, I still kept him in my heart. And so this was my twin flame placeholder. This young man. Next, okay, so I'm gonna go step by step. So then, in order to forget, in order to forget my teenage love, where I got separated from him physically, both physically because I had to move to another country due to the war, but also we broke up just before that for no reason known to me, and he never gave me the reason. And that was the one great thing, that not until I met my twin flame, my organic twin flame, I was able to release, to let go. The worst thing that someone can do to you is not give you the explanation for their actions. But the thing is, or was, that I was the one who couldn't accept that he actually did give me explanation. I just, not that I couldn't accept it, but I thought that he was not being honest. I didn't believe him, what he told me. But it took me years after I met my organic twin and awaken and ascend and go into 5D and meet with this young man, and also raise my vibration and raise my knowledge of our destinies, to realize what he was saying, what he told me, that the explanation why he had to go away from me was actually, it was true. What he told me was true. And what he told me was, but I guess I wanted to hear a different explanation, but he was more than honest. He was being more than honest when he said that he loved me too much, that he had to let me go because, and the reason I didn't believe him, because it sounded so cheesy. It sounded like a breakup, like a perfect breakup line that the boys do, that it's like, when they tell you it's not you, it's me, and stuff like that. But he was very specific when he told me. First of all, I could never get over the fact that we were sitting in a hallway in front of his door, where we would sit as children. We were he was amazing guitar player, amazing. When I say amazing, I'm not exaggerating by all means. His sister is a doctor of music today, and they were only 1 year apart, and they were music geniuses, both of them. After he broke up with me, he gave up on music. He stopped playing, and that was one of the greatest hurts of my life, because I couldn't understand why he gave up on two things that he loved, which was me and his guitar. But I guess that was he had his own reasons. That was his sacrifice. And something that happened inside of him that I realize now was that he was channeling, back then he was channeling my organic twin. He was the first channeler of my organic twin. He manifested my twin in a form of communication, in a form of opening me to the first innocent form of love and romantic love. And he was my first kiss. And I just didn't realize back then that it was my organic twin who spoke through him from his 5D. And so he was preparing me on my journey that was coming many years after. And so, but at the same time, he was my first hurt, because I couldn't realize what he was saying. And what he was saying specifically was, so we were sitting in the hallway, and there was no electricity due to the war. There was no power. We were sitting, he was playing guitar, and then he would give guitar to another boy who was not so bad himself, and he was playing, and there was a lot of kids our age, teenagers, gathered in the hallway, and there was darkness, complete pitch darkness in the hallway, and it was really bad time of war. We didn't even have candles. It was that bad. And he asked me to lean on his shoulder, and then I kind of slid into his lap, and I was kind of just listening to the music, and we were deeply in love, and it was one of the most beautiful moments in our relationship. Everything was fine, everything was perfect. And then I felt hot water on my face, because the thing was, he was crying and his tears were falling all over my face as I was leaning in his lap listening to the music. And he was kind of petting my hair and my face with one of his hands, and with his left hand, and then I start feeling something hot on my face. And it took me a while to realize, because it was dark, I couldn't see his face, that he was actually crying all over my face. His tears were dropping, and that I couldn't get out of my head for years, because moments later he broke up with me. He asked me, I when I realized he was crying, I asked him to come down, to come down. I'm sorry. I asked him what was going on, and he asked me to come down outside of the building, down the stairs, and we came outside, and it was raining. It was heavy rain in the beginning of July, the summer rain, almost monsoon. Like I've never seen in Europe such a heavy rain. Another thing, I feel that it was a presence of God was so strong, and I feel that it was a monsoon rain like they have in Bangladesh, like they have in India, and it felt that way. It was heavily raining, and his tears mixed up with the rain, and later on, very soon after that, my tears mixed up with that rain. And he told me that we must not be a couple anymore. And I was, even back then, I was a strong young girl, and I started demanding him to. I didn't. The tears were dropping my face, but I wasn't begging him. I wasn't acting like regular girl that would start begging or pleading. I got angry, and I asked him I demanded the explanation, because everything was just fine, just perfectly fine, just most beautiful days we just spent days before that. And he said that he was starting to fall in love so deeply with me that it scares him, that he was so young, 15 years old, that there was no opportunity for us to not even remotely think about when will we have future together, as in marriage or anything. So that he's afraid that he is already putting me too highly on a pedestal. That he said specifically, he said, do you know that little porcelain doll that my mother has on her armor in our house? And I said, yes. And he said, well, you know that little porcelain doll, my mother doesn't let anybody touch it. And that's how I feel about you. It will break me apart if anybody would take me away from you. So I let you go. And I couldn't realize that a 15-year-old would think that way. I accepted that he had deep thoughts about God. And I accepted that we talked about reincarnation, and then we talked about when did we come, and were we the star seeds, even back then when there was no internet available on a regular basis, and there were no phones like today, or YouTube or Google or whatever. He talked about things that 15-year-old couldn't have even read in the books in such a short time. And I could accept all that in some mystical way. I knew he was special, and I loved him for that. And he always said the same thing to me. I always remember first time we went on an actual date, but it was during the daytime, and we lay in the grass in the mountain. And he said, and I said to him, how can someone be so smart and so beautiful at the same time? And he said, how can how can you not believe that when you are so smart and so beautiful at the same time? And I never believed him those words, because I had such low self-esteem until perhaps maybe recently, because I'm learning about myself. I'm learning to love myself in this time and age, because of my organic twin, because of my journey, because of this whole twin flame thing. I'm trying to learn to love myself, because I know the secret to reunion is self-love, not selfishness, but self-love. So back then I couldn't accept anybody's compliment telling me that I'm beautiful, that I'm smart, and I remember I believed myself, telling him that he was beautiful and smart. But when he said it back to me, I didn't really take him seriously. And so rewind, fast forward that to the moment when we are standing in the rain and he says, I love you too much. I know, days before that, his sister told me that he was waking up at night. He even hit himself in the head on a cupboard above his bed. She said he had nightmares, that something was bothering him. And now today I realize he had to let me go in order to let me go to another country, then eventually to go to United States and move far away from him, because if I never come to United States, I would have never met my organic twin. So then, in the meantime, I tried to forget I moved out of my country of origin. I moved to the next country. I've been there for 3 years, and then I returned back to my home place, and I've seen him again, but we couldn't reconnect. I lost courage to talk to him. He was deeply offended, because actually what I did that same night when we broke up is, on the way back, he took me back to my building and said goodbye, said goodnight, and I couldn't stand that, and I started demanding more explanations, and I started saying to him, tell me reasons, tell me real reasons. And then I guess he was just being sarcastic. He was trying to hurt me and push me away, as you do with the animal, as they do in the movies with the animals when they want to release them back into the wild, for their own sake, after they heal them, after they help them grow their wing again, then they let them go and they say, go away, go back in the where you belong, in the wild. I think he tried to push me with saying, he was counting on his fingers, and he said, well, this mistake and this mistake, and I got so angry. I was just a young girl, and I was full of anger, and I didn't know where to go with all that pain that I was feeling, and I slapped him. I slapped him in the face, and I said, count this as my last mistake. And I turned around and turned my back on him, ran into my building crying. And after that, he told his parents, by the way, his parents loved me, blah, blah, blah. It was just like a beautiful young love story. And then he told his parents, and he told his sister that he will never forgive me that slap in the face. And he told them that he will never forget me as well. Okay, so then I moved away from my town, and when I came back 3 years later, I couldn't forget him. I was completely blocked from loving anyone, from falling in love. I went through high school not having a boyfriend. I was not religious back then, but I just couldn't get him out of my head, out of my heart. I loved him with every cell of my being, and when I came back, we couldn't reconnect. Then I decided, this is when I met my karmic partner. I decided to fall in love by choice, arrange my own love by my mind, use my mind to pick a perfect person that would be perfect for me, and make myself love them, which is not possible. Which is, now I know, today I learned my lesson, is not possible. What turned out to be, long story short, I married this young boy, not immediately, but I left Europe. I went to United States, and he was very he was a person who was manipulator. He liked to use people, and he I guess the karma was, I was looking for someone I would not feel hurt, because I would not love them from inorganic way, but I would learn how to love them, so that way I can control my feelings. And I picked someone who was intellectually on my level, so someone I could talk to and someone I could relate to intellectually. So I handpicked my own, I'm my own karmic partner, but I thought I handpicked him. In reality, he also handpicked me for his own secret agenda. And he turned out to be homosexual. He turned out to be homosexual, closeted homosexual. I'm not kidding. This is true story. And I still don't, until today, I still don't know his actual, maybe he doesn't know either. His actual motives were either to heal from what society at that time was not accepting as part of someone's sexual freedom. Especially in that part of Europe where we come from, he would have been ostracized, as if not even hurt or bullied if anybody found out. And long story short, I cannot go into details that he had a so-called best friend who was actually his lover. I didn't know that, but this boy was very jealous when we started, our relationship. And our relationship was basically platonic, and I liked it that way. I didn't want to be attached too deeply with someone, either physically or emotionally. I just wanted to have normal life. I just wanted, I said to myself, I'm a loving person and I can love anyone, and I will be able to love this man because he's intellectually on my level, and we have so many things in common intellectually and more mentally, I would say. So I will just choose him as my boyfriend. It was my first initial thought was boyfriend, but he then proposed to me, and what I didn't know was that he wanted to, most likely that he wanted to marry me so that he can either heal, so that the society would not, and run away from his lover, or to mask his sexual preference. I was naive in that department. I admit. I know, but I wasn't so much naive as I really was. At that time, I was not religious, but I was disgusted by sex. I felt sex was something dirty. That's something I was better without. And as we became engaged and I left for United States, he followed me. 2 years later, he came to United States. We eventually got married here, and then I started living my life with him. Then eventually, I started feeling that we should have a normal man and wife relationship, and things were getting worse and worse every day because that wasn't happening. As I was getting older and understanding things better, I realized that he was not just in platonic relationship with me, but something was off, something was wrong. This was not a normal behavior of a young man. And he was such a manipulator that he always found excuse. He even went to doctors and neurologists and urologists or whatever, to try to prove to me that it was this or that there were other things that might have been going on, until in the state where we live, people started coming out of closet. And long story short, I ended up being divorced and abandoned and hurt to the core of my being. I survived. I don't want to get anybody's pity right now, so I'm just gonna skip that part where I survived my divorce and this eye-opening, and then I never really blamed my karmic partner, because I was happy that he left. I was relieved that he finally set me free and let me out of his closet. And I have to say that I will not say my own opinion about being homosexual or not. I cannot do that, because I've learned on this journey so far not to judge anyone, not to say anything about anyone that in whose shoes I have not been into. So I cannot say anything about their preferences. Why is that? I will not go into that. I just want to say that I appreciate openly gay and lesbian people, because at least they're not dragging anyone into their life, pretending to be something they're not. Being closeted, please, if you're closeted, come out. Don't marry opposite gender. If you're not attracted to opposite gender, please don't do that to another human being, okay? Don't do that to anyone. Don't do that to yourselves. I know that my karmic twin did not do that maybe consciously, but subconsciously he dragged me into that. And I was asking for it. I was asking for it because I kind of came into mutual agreement with him. This was working great for me. Subconsciously, maybe I knew he was gay. I don't know. Now when I think about it, maybe I really did. Anyways, it has left huge scar on my feminine life, because I thought I was not attractive. I didn't feel any feminine aspect of myself. And then in 2011, I meet my organic twin, and I still feel no sexual feelings for him. Nothing. My feeling for my organic twin are beyond this world. And you have your twin flame, so you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go there. It's the energy. It's the pull. It's the magnetic pull. This is amazing. And then we feel for our organic twin. It's hard to describe. It's so powerful that one becomes the runner, right? So yeah, but I never thought of him in that way until Kundalini started opening, and I felt that actually my organic twin is trying to contact me in astral form, and he did come to me in astral form. And then after I think it was beginning of 2016, he came telepathically to me and told me that I need to heal sacral chakra before reunion, because my feminine energy was not balanced. Right after that, I met a wonderful, wonderful boy from Afghanistan who I refer to now as sacral chakra guy, because he found that girl that never bloomed in me, someone who adores me, someone who felt energetic pull from sacral energy towards me, and our connection was on that chakra level, and it has helped me, and I did heal. After that, I meet my manifested twin, and that was in May 2016. And our connection is with all chakras, but it's not in 3D. Our connection is 4D and 5D, but we are not together in 3D yet. We are still not in the same room. We are still not in the same continent. But we understand each other fully, and he's manifesting my twin completely. What happened with him, I explained in my previous videos. He is fully channeling my organic twin, but he's not the physical person is not the same as my organic twin. He could be also called my catalyst twin, okay? Because what happened, and now I'm going to talk about shift that happened this week. What happened is somehow he found out, I don't know, he claims that Angel told him. Now this sounds messed up, but when I finally got courage to ask him, who told you that I was married? He said, Angel told me, and somehow I believe him. I may find out sooner or later that maybe one of my so-called friends maybe contacted him and told him, hey, maybe someone who is watching this video, maybe someone who is following me and who knows who my manifest twin is, has contacted him and told him that I was previously married. And I don't have to say that karma will take care of that. But if it was an angel, as he says, then, I told him that I'm grateful that I have no longer this burden on me, because the reason I didn't tell him I was married was, yes, I was afraid that he would not love the real me that I am, but that he would not be able to accept the luggage that I carry. But the most logical reason why I didn't tell him I was married is because back when I met my organic twin in 2011, I did tell his parents and him when I met them that I was married and that I'm divorced. And it became an obstacle later. It became a wall for his parents to let him even think about proposing to me when he was in that stage in his phase when he was asking. He had no courage to approach him by himself because of our energy pool, but he did ask his parents to become his spokespeople and come and ask me for my hand. I know about his plans, but they refused him altogether his idea. Anyways, so my manifested twin did not know I was married because he never asked me. He never asked me. He asked me other things, and I always answered him honestly. And so yes, I hid the truth by not revealing it without being asked. But as soon as he asked me, which was 3 days ago, I don't know, was he really motivated by an angel, as he says, or he calls a person an angel because he's sometimes very sarcastic. Because he might have heard from someone who I consider a friend, who is not really my friend, who might have contacted him, who thinks that they're doing the right thing for mixing into other people's journeys, and told him that I was married and that this and that, and and he became so deeply hurt, so shocked, not by the fact that I was married so much, that too, yes, because of his upbringing and his culture and all that, but because mostly because I didn't tell him. And I just told you what his response was. Response was right now, he said that I told him because the other guy, and I told him about Pakistani organic twin. I told him, just before he asked me about marriage, I told him the whole story, how I met him and how it just we never were even a couple, we never dated, but he loved me and I felt love for him, but it just, it couldn't work out because there were obstacles. And then when he popped the question if I was married before and started blaming me for not telling him and how hurt he was deeply, then I told him that's why I didn't tell you, so that your parents wouldn't do the same like his parents. And he answered me now that it's not that guy's fault that his parents are stupid, which is amazing that he answered me this way. But what I wanted to tell you guys is that when he started, now my manifested twin, when he started blaming me, not only that no, I didn't tell me, but basically blaming me for being divorced because he's so young and he's not in a way of world, and in his culture is basically zero divorce. He doesn't understand that it's not my fault that I have this past behind me, and it took me a lot of courage to survive it. So I want to share with you. I want to tell you why is this the hardest purging for all of us who are going through similar things, is because now I have to go through this full self-acceptance. This is my test. This is why he's my catalyst twin. Even if he doesn't accept or does accept, I don't care if he does or not accept me who I am, and with being divorced and all that, I need to completely accept and love myself and say, I love myself the way I am. I am divorced. I have been married before. And was it my fault or the other person's fault? It doesn't matter. It was, I suffered through that marriage. I suffered through that divorce. It's nobody's business, and nobody should love me more or less for that fact about my life. Because I'm still me, and I'm still the one he fell in love with. And so I'm going through that ultimate test right now. And I wanted to share that with you. And I want to wrap up by reading something to you from the book called The Path of Love by Deepak Chopra. And it says, every time you are tempted to react in the same old way, ask if you want to be a prisoner of the past or a pioneer of the future. The past is closed and limited. The future is open and free. And then I also want to share this with you from the book called The Synchronicity Key by David Wilcock. I'm going to put some reminders below the in description, where he says, the following. He says, the word sin, because right now I'm almost accused of being sinful for being married before, which is not a sin. But listen to this. The word sin translates as a transgression of divine law, particularly a willful or deliberate violation of a moral or religious principle. Although this word is considerably outdated for anyone who is not Christian, a sin would be anything that violates the free will of others. Jesus' original message, therefore, was that if you violate others' free will, you will have to go through a cycle of purification, or Gehenna, for a given cycle or ion of time. This is much different than the modern mistranslated idea that you will burn in hell for all eternity. Once you understand what is happening to you and the love that is ultimately fueling these karmic events, you can be saved from having to repeat these cycles of misery, suffering, and pain, or Gehenna. The key to stopping the wheel of karma is forgiveness. So now what I'm left to see is, you remember, guys, how I told you that I don't know if this manifested twin is the one I'm supposed to be with, or should I cut the cord and stay truthful to my organic twin, who is nowhere in sight? Or did all of my organic twin really download into this new person that loves me so deeply? Is left to see right now. This is the ultimate test for my manifested twin, if he will accept me for who I am, with all my faults. With that, he thinks of me as a perfect person, and now there's something he doesn't like about me, and I'm glad there's something he doesn't like about me. Now he has, whether it's not a sin to be divorced, but whatever he sees as dark night right now, let's see if he can pass through that. If he can pass through that, then I have the ultimate answer that he's the one I'm supposed to have union with. My twin flame union, and then continue my mission with. And if he cannot pass that, then he gave me the answer about my organic twin by telling me that my organic twin is not at fault for being stopped by his parents. Then that means I have to forgive him and wait for him. So right now I'm at the crossroads, and I'll post you guys further. I always keep you posted, and I just want to tell you that I didn't want to make this video so long, but it was for clarification purposes to explain to you who was who. And I'm sorry I didn't mention the sacral chakra guy more, but I did make enough videos about him before. I love you guys. I'm gonna stop now. Peace be upon you.